I think in many ways the expectations of travelling clients are unchanged, and they've been unchanged for an extremely long time. If you go to South Africa as a first-time visitor, you're going to want to visit Cape Town, the winelands, the garden route, and go on safari. That was the same 20 years ago, it's the same now. The way you do that has changed slightly, and that's partly driven by us. So I founded Holiday Architects because my brother-in-law came to me with a business model. It was a business model for online retail, effectively based around dominance of the search engines. And so we launched, and that's the really simple side of it. I think after we launched, we realised there's two things we wanted to do differently. We wanted to give clients a more authentic experience, so get them slightly more under the skin of the country than a standard tour, have them come back with a greater understanding of the country. And then secondly, something that was kind of really important to me was to treat both our staff and our suppliers much better than a lot of companies did.
I think the way that we're able to provide a really fantastic, tailored and bespoke experience for each client is by taking the time to get to know them individually, by phone, if not by email or face-to-face, and really learning about what it is for them that's going to make the perfect trip.
We kind of make every arrangement for you, so we would book the flights, we would book private transfers, private guides, hotels, generally speaking, for every trip.
A way that we can match going to places which are on everyone's bucket list, being in line with and going to see local communities and making sure that there's that harmony there, is by working with lodges and suppliers that we know really try and get local community involvement to the absolute maximum.
If local communities don't see and feel the direct benefit of tourism, they're going to resent it, and it's them that bear the brunt of any negative impact. So it's vital to engage them. I think the great example of this for me is what happens in Africa and poaching. And it was only when they started to engage the local communities that lived around these wildlife parks and these safari parks and got them engaged in the tourism process that they started to see that these animals are worth more alive to them than dead to them.
And I think there's a real difference between going somewhere and spending time on your own and potentially going there with a guide who's grown up there, who knows exactly what they're doing and who's going to bring everything to life with their stories about the area.
I think if you're trying to get under the skin of a country and really learn about it, it's good to have the choice of where you're going, what you're seeing, rather than being frog-marched from one place to another.
Sometimes if you're on a pre-packaged holiday, you have to fit into their schedule. We were able to fulfill maybe what we wanted to do, which was to get feel a bit of the culture and the history and not be rushed through.
We decided beforehand that we wanted about 10 days. So we said we'd like to go to Morocco and we would like to spend some time, a few days in the gardens of Marrakesh, and then we would like to spend a few days in the high Atlas hiking and a few days over the other side, the edge of the Sahara.
Taking that little bit of extra time, so you had 2 full days in each place, made such a difference. In fact, when we were in the Jardin de Scour, there were other guests saying, "Oh, it's so beautiful here, I've only got 1 night, what a shame," and we felt quite superior in a way.
And the guides were faultless. I mean, they arrived absolutely on time, every time.
A little while ago, we identified 2 main competitive advantages we had as a business: our strength in online search and the quality of our staff. So we have been native in the digital space since we launched. We've been running PPC campaigns that entire time. We've built a vast amount of experience and data that we can use to optimize our campaigns. And secondly, we have extremely experienced staff. So the average member of staff here has had 10 years in the industry. And that means when they're talking to you and designing a trip for you, not only do they know the country really well, but they understand you and people like you really well. Marry those 2 things together and you get a fantastic holiday.
Well, the fabulous thing about this job is that we get to go out on research trips to the destinations that we cover. It's a company where we are all encouraged to manage our own time and work flexibly. I think that really pays off in terms of we're able to contact clients out of hours if that's what's required, and to just be there for them, which is fantastic.
With increased funding, the first step would be to cover off the remaining 10 to 15 countries that we don't yet offer. And then there's a technology side with funding. There's two strands we could take. There's one strand which would be improving our marketing CRM so that we can more effectively market to existing clients and new clients, drive up our conversion rates, drive up our lifetime values. And then secondly, there's the use of smartphones more effectively. So that's not just to deliver content to clients and sort of retain them within the brand, but it's also to maybe even monetize in resort spend. So perhaps they want to take an excursion when they're in Cape Town, they can contact us through the app, we arrange it for them, and we get some money out of it as well. Over the next 10 years, one of the things that I really hope happens is that we start to tackle this issue of over-tourism. It's not very good for travellers, it's not very good for the communities that they're travelling to, and it's something that we need to do to address. I hope that travellers' attitudes change, I hope that the attitude of tour operators like ourselves improves, and I hope that the people on the ground who are receiving the visitors start to realise that quality, not quantity, might be the answer. We're also only effective in one distribution channel at the moment, that being paid digital search. So by expanding out across other distribution channels, there's more room for growth there. Like the US, like Australia, like the Far East. So that's a model we could go to, sort of phase 2 for growth, if you like.